Thank you, Waziri. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Your Excellency Ambassador Zhu Pingjian, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Kenya, ministers, senior government officials, fellow Kenyans, let me just say that it is a distinct honor today as we are here celebrating a decade of renewal of public infrastructure as we commission this Nairobi expressway. With the addition of this iconic motorway to the landscape of our capital city, Nairobi, our city of Nairobi now acquires not just a new suspended highway, but one whose design is bold and distinctive, inking a new chapter in our infrastructural development as a country. So, fellow Kenyans, our founding fathers not only bequeathed us independence, but they also bequeathed us with dreams for a better and more prosperous tomorrow. And they dared us to build a future that Kenya deserves by doing great and sometimes seemingly impossible things. As they handed the baton of leadership to the generations that followed, they also wisely advised us that to do big things, we could only allow ourselves to be distracted by small things. So many have asked why I have focused on investing so extensively in infrastructure projects. Why are we building roads and railways? Why are we building floating bridges and fiber optic cables? Why are we developing new ports? And the answer to this should actually be clear to all. The Kenyan dream, conceived by those who struggled for and who secured our independence, was for a nation where the government implements transformative development programs and policies that boldly lay the foundation for achieving a better and prosperous Kenya for all. As correctly identified in our own Vision 2030, solid and functional infrastructure is a key enabler to the realization of that national dream. In that vein, our brick and mortar investments in roads, rails, ports and energy and other areas are not the dream. They are not the achievement. The dream is what these big public investments will do for Kenya and how they will transform our standing in the community of nations while also powering our citizens' pursuit for better livelihoods. Today we are answering all those doubting Thomases and all naysayers, and we are boldly declaring that Kenya is a leader and an innovator by commissioning the East and Central Africa's most iconic road, which is the Nairobi Expressway. We dreamt, for example, for an end to the nightmare of the traffic gridlock in Nairobi, which experts have estimated used to cost our nation approximately 5 billion shillings every year in lost productivity and wasted fuel. Since we opened the roads for public trials in April, it now takes between 15 to 24 minutes to drive all the way from Mulolongo in Machakos County to Rironi in Kiambu County. Before the expressway, that would have been a journey that would take at least 3 hours, which if you calculate is the equivalent of flying from Nairobi to Addis Ababa and back again. In short, the Nairobi Expressway has been open for trials, and it has already proved its worth. It has ushered in an era of reduced travel time, an increased mobility, and an era of reduced congestion and enhanced productivity. The expressway lays open a better business environment for our country, which means more opportunities for our nation in tourism, in conferencing, in manufacturing, in hospitality, sectors that employ more than 3 million Kenyans directly and another 6 million indirectly. It also means better emergency response for all those in need of critical care and better commuter movement. It has also provided relief for the main transport artery that serves Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. This singular project basically secures Nairobi's status as the region's capital, as well as the region's economic nerve center, and therefore strengthening Kenya's position as East and Central Africa's commercial and diplomatic hub. The Nairobi Expressway will undoubtedly enhance not only the experience of our own citizens, but will also enhance the experience of all those visitors, investors, tourists, and others by giving them an unforgettable traffic-free first impression in a captivating drive that perfectly juxtaposes the beauty of nature mixed with modernity. The construction of the Nairobi Expressway complements the expansion of the James Gishuru Junction, Rironi Road, and the Athi River Machakos Turnoff Road, both of which are adjacent to this expressway. Other initiatives that have reduced congestion in Nairobi include the construction of the 97-kilometer long ring of 4 bypasses, the Eastern Bypass, the Southern Bypass, the Northern Bypass, the Western Bypass, as well as the expansion of Gong Road and Outer Ring Road, as well as the construction of Nairobi itself. Another significant milestone heralded by the Nairobi Expressway is a new model of delivering the public good through a fundamental overhaul. A fundamental overhaul of how we fund public investments. The expressway has been executed through the public-private partnership, meaning that this project that we see here today has not been financed through debt or government funds, other than those funds that were required for the relocation of utilities such as power lines, water piping, and fiber optic cables. Indeed, this is the first PPP road project in Kenya. The Nairobi Expressway marks the government's pivot towards leveraging private capital to bridge our infrastructural deficit. The private company executing this project, China Road and Bridge Corporation, has been responsible for designing, financing, and building the expressway, and will maintain and operate the expressway during the project's concession period. During this period, it will also recoup its investment by collecting toll charges from motorists who choose to use the expressway. The investor, which is China Road and Bridge, will then transfer the road to government at the end of the concession period. But also, the contractor has also started works on parts to revamp parts of the Mombasa Road, Uhuru Highway, and Wayaki Way that are adjacent to the expressway, and this is in partnership with the government of Kenya. So this project is therefore a prime example of what can be achieved when the public and private sectors work together. Indeed, it is amazing that during this trial period that has just come to an end, we have exceeded the number of vehicles that were expected by a higher margin, meaning that the returns from this project may be even achieved much sooner than had previously been projected, and for that I congratulate our partners wherever they are. I don't know where they are. Hongera sana. Pongezi, thank you. But we also congratulate them for the execution of this complex project, which would not have been possible without the sacrifice of many individuals and entities. When this project began in October 2019, I did direct that an accelerated construction program be implemented within a target completion date of June 2022. I am pleased to note that the major construction works that were originally envisioned to take 36 months were completed within a period of 18 months. This stellar achievement is due to the enormous sacrifice and dedication of many parties. First and foremost, I want to thank all Kenyans, particularly the residents of Nairobi, who have had to cope with the inconvenience and the disruptions that came with the road construction. But our gratitude also goes to our partners, China Road Bridge Corporation, for choosing to invest and therefore demonstrating their confidence in our country, Kenya. I also want to thank the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, and indeed all other government agencies, as well as private parties that have been involved in the construction of this project. Your efforts in making this engineering masterpiece a reality and on schedule is greatly commended. Hongera to all of you. Pongezi sana to all of you. I would be amiss if I don't also take this opportunity to thank the government and the people of the Republic of China for the confidence that they have shown in our country, Kenya. Without their confidence in our country, private sector would not have invested in our country. So again, our thanks to the government and the people of the Republic of China. Thank you very much. As you also know, today we have commissioned the revamped Nairobi Eastern Bypass, which we have expanded into a dual carriage. The Nairobi Eastern Bypass is a major transport artery that connects the Mombasa Highway, Nairobi-Mombasa Highway, with the Nairobi-Thika Highway, distributing traffic to the northern, eastern, and southern precincts of the Nairobi metropolitan area, and thus boosting connectivity within the Nairobi metropolis. The Eastern Bypass plays a major role in directing traffic away from the Nairobi CBD and thus reducing travel times in and around Nairobi. Since the Eastern Bypass was completed as a single carriage in 2014, considerable urbanization and commerce emerged along its economic corridor, occasioning a significant increase in traffic volumes. This resulted in severe and unprecedented traffic jams, so it was no longer functioning as a bypass, but rather that as a main road. This ultimately would have rendered the road unusable as a reliable link or bypass for Nairobi. So therefore, the expanded Eastern Bypass, which includes 5 new major vehicular crossings, 6-lane dual carriageways at the busy sections of the road, will greatly ease the congestion that existed on that road. So, ladies and gentlemen, during our term in office, we have built more than 11,500 kilometers of new tarmac roads, which have increased Kenya's paved road network by more than 85%. And as a result of accelerated road development and maintenance, more than 70% of Kenyans can now access an all-weather road network within a radius of 2 kilometers from their homes. These roads have improved access to schools, to hospitals, to trading centers and facilitated intra and inter-county movement. My administration has also upgraded a further 408 kilometers of access roads and related infrastructure in the densely populated areas of Nairobi. So for the first time, in places like Mukuru, Kibera, Mathare, you do now have tarmac roads, making it easier for all citizens to be able to meet their travel requirements. The expansive infrastructure milestones realized during my term has been built on the foundation of hard work and sacrifices of previous generations. And the challenge of our generation was to boldly further their agenda. Where they built an ordinary bridge, we built a floating one in Mombasa. Where there was a single-lane road, we have built multi-lane highways. Where once lay a railway in ruins, we executed the largest infrastructure project in Africa through the standard gauge railway and revived 566 kilometers of the meter gauge railway. This has resulted in new areas of our country opening up, and as you will recall, recently we were in Naivasha to not only launch the link between the standard gauge railway and the meter gauge, but also to launch what will probably be one of the largest industries in terms of ceramic, aluminium manufacture, paper in Naivasha, something that would not have been possible without the rail, without the water that we now have supplied in the area, and without the people who now are able to utilize that area. So as I said in the beginning, my friends, infrastructure is just a route to opening up opportunities for our people. Employment opportunities, business opportunities, thereby making our country that much more attractive and helping us move much faster to realize our dream of being a true middle-income country well before the year 2030. The speed with which we have executed these projects should be a national reminder that with dedication and the whole of government approach, implementation of large public projects ahead of their scheduled time is actually no longer a dream, but a reality. So as I conclude, I want to reiterate that we have been able to achieve the notable infrastructure developments because of the peace and security that our country enjoys, which has been the envy of many in the continent and globally. And to ensure that we remain on this development trajectory, it is therefore important that we avoid anything that may jeopardize our peace and our security, because this is our greatest national asset. As you all know, in a week's time, we will be exercising our constitutional right to choose a new administration. I want to urge all of us to maintain peace during the remaining campaign period and on and after the date of the election. Kuna haja ya matusi jameni. Kila mtu, including myself, ako na uhuru wa kupigia debe yoyote ambaye anataka. Kwa hivyo, unapigia huyu, mwingine anampigia huyu, mwingine anapigia huyu, uamuzi utakuwa wa wananchi. Kuna haja ya matusi, kuna haja ya kuingilia watu. Na nikikujibu kwa sababu umesema mambo ya uongo, kuna haja ya kuambia watu nataka kuua. Si mumenitusi karibu miaka 3, kuna mtu amewaguza. Hiyo miaka 3 nimekuwa kwa kiti, si nilikuwa na uwezo Sasa wakati naenda kupatiana serikali na sina uwezo, ndio niko na time ya kukutafuta. Piga story yako, uza sera zako, wachana na mimi. Mimi nafanya kazi yangu nimalize. Nyinyi muende muombe kura, wananchi wakiwapatia sawa, wakiwanyima twende nyumbani pamoja. Shida iko wapi? Si dunia itaendelea. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, let us be calm. Let us do the right thing. Let us tell Kenyans what we shall do for them, not what we expect them and what we think of others. So, with these few remarks, I now take this opportunity very proudly to declare the Nairobi Expressway and the Nairobi Eastern Bypass officially commissioned, and Godspeed to all users. Thank you to all our partners. May God bless you all, and may God bless Kenya. Asanteni sana.